Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start our webinar at 8 o'clock. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin. I have a note to make before we begin today's seminar, which is visiting professor. I would like to see your cooperation in completing this seminar. Kindly please switch your line to silent mode to avoid interruption. Ibu Bapak yang terhormat, mohon untuk membuat silent atau menonaktifkan speaker untuk menghindari ramainya atau banyaknya traffic yang masuk. Thank you for your kind cooperation and attention. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome each and every of you to our visiting professor seminar. Please allow me to welcome each and every one of you. His Excellency, Director of Muhammadiyah Professor Dr. Hamka University, Professor Dr. Gunawan Surya Putro, MHUM, respectable, the Dean of Training and Education Faculty, Dr. Desvian Bandarsa, MPD, Honorable the Head of Primary Teacher Education Study Program, Ibu Ikayatri, MPD, respectable all participants of this seminar. First of all, let's thank to Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has given us some merits and blessings so that we can attend this agenda without any troubles and obstacles. Secondly, salawat and salam may always be given to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has guided us from the darkness to the lightness. Please allow me to introduce myself. I, Novanita Windy Arini, will be your master ceremony this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's seminar, International Visiting Professor, held by Primary Teacher Education Study Program, Uhamka. I would like to thank everyone here for making time to attend this remarkable seminar. And let me inform you, this seminar will be held for 2 days. The first day, we will have Professor Martin Fittandan. He will deliver his topic, Molding the Community, Shaping the Future, the Teacher's Role in Nation. And the next day, we will have Professor Alexander S. Lopez with his topic, the relationship between leadership practice and school culture. Both speakers are from Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go further, let's take some picture of our documentation. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, in this occasion, allow me to introduce our agenda. First, we have opening by reciting Basmala. and then welcoming speech, presentation, and the last is closing. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's open this seminar ceremony by reciting Basmalah. Next, singing Indonesia Raya and March Muhammadiyah. Ladies and gentlemen, please listen carefully. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have Ibu Ikayatri as the head of our primary teacher education study program who will report our agenda today. To Ibu Ikayatri, time is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Nova. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajmain. Amma ba'du. The Honorable Rector of University of Muhammadiyah, Professor Dr. Hamka, and the Honorable the Dean of the Faculty of Teacher Training and Education of University of Muhammadiyah, Professor Dr. Hamka, and then Mr. and Mrs. Vice Dean of the Faculty of Teacher Training and Education Uhamka, and the Lecturer of Primary Teacher Education Study Program, student, and all participants who are attending the virtual room this morning. And the last, the Honorable of our speaker, Mr. Professor Marvin Vitandes and Professor Alexander S. Lopez from Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University. Thank you and welcome to Primary Teacher Education Study Program, Faculty Teacher Training and Education, University of Muhammadiyah, Professor Dr. Hamka. First of all, let's say thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has give us guidance, happiness, heartily, and mercy, so we can attend and participate in this event. The International Visiting Professor Primary Teacher Education Study Program. Prize and celebration upon a Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who had brought us to the path of light from the darkness in this life. And furthermore, on behalf of the Primary Teacher Education Study Program, I thanks to Rector and the Dean for their program is the Pgsd. And this activity, we present expert speaker to give the new insight from the all participants. And thank you for attendance, and I hope you can enjoy this event for the next 2 days. Thank you and enjoy. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Ibu Ika. Next, we would like to welcome Mr. Desvian Bandarsa as the Dean of Teacher Training and Education Faculty to give his speech. Mr. Bandarsa, time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Wala hawla wala quwata illa billah. Amma ba'du. Honorable Professor Gunawan Surya Putro, the Rector of University of Muhammadiyah, Professor Dr. Hamka. My colleagues, Deputy Dean at Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, the Head of International Relations Office, Mr. Purnama Saifur Rahman, Pgsd, and especially Professor Marvin Tandas and Professor Alexander Lopez from Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, Head and Secretary of Elementary School Teacher Education Study Program, lecturers, students, and all participants. Our education is currently in an era openness in the midst of the advanced information information technology which is adapted into the world of education. This encourage education to continue to improve, to be part of the international academic culture that characterize progressive development. Jadi kita Bapak Ibu sekalian saat ini berada dalam era keterbukaan di tengah-tengah kemajuan teknologi informasi, maka kemudian itu perlu mendorong kita, mendorong pendidikan kita untuk terus berbenah agar dapat menjadi bagian dari kerja-kerja akademik internasional yang menjadi ciri dari perkembangan-perkembangan progresif dari pendidikan kita. The importance of being part of international academic association is one of the program that is expected to accelerate the study program at Fkip Uhamka, especially the primary school teacher education study program, becoming a possible way to improve quality in the era of education governance nowadays. Jadi saya kira penting menjadi bagian dari kultur akademik atau asosiasi akademik internasional yang itu menjadi salah satu program yang diharapkan dapat mendorong percepatan bagi perkembangan-perkembangan Fkip Uhamka, khususnya program studi pendidikan guru sekolah dasar kita. Karena pendidikan guru sekolah dasar kita sekarang ini tengah berupaya untuk mewujudkan satu fase yang lebih penting lagi, yaitu menuju program studi yang unggul, menjadi bagian dari budaya akademik internasional. Itu menjadi penting, sehingga kemudian itu membutuhkan dukungan semua pihak. One that is possible and can be implemented is the International Visiting Professor of Primary Teacher Education Study Program. The Elementary School Teacher Education Study Program has pioneered cooperation in an effort to develop themselves and their graduates to become part of the future generation of Indonesian education. Indeed, this is a strategic and important part of the process of enriching academic perspective for lecturer and a student. Salah satu yang mungkin dapat dilakukan adalah dengan menyelenggarakan International Visiting Professor of Primary Teacher Education Study Program. Jadi salah satunya adalah dengan melaksanakan kegiatan ini. Tentu penting untuk mengembangkan kegiatan-kegiatan yang lain dalam kerangka kerjasama yang saling menguntungkan. Ini diharapkan bisa mendorong sivitas akademik, terutama para dosen dan mahasiswa di lingkungan program studi Pgsd dan pada umumnya di Fkip Uhamka. We hope that this program can be developed into a wider collaboration and provide broad benefits for both parties, by involving lectures and students. For example, in research and writing journal articles and so on. And, and finally, congratulations to the elementary school teacher education study program for holding this international visiting professor program. Jadi selamat kepada program studi pendidikan guru sekolah dasar yang telah melaksanakan program visiting professor ini bersama-sama dengan segenap dosen dan mahasiswanya, sehingga kemudian dapat mengambil manfaat yang maksimal dari proses semacam ini. Terima kasih, thank you, and have a fruitful programs. Nasru minallah wa fatun qarib wa basyiril mu'minin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Bandarza, for your remarkable speech. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to present Uhamka Profile.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Fakultas Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan Universitas Muhammadiyah Profesor Dr. Hamka memiliki visi untuk menjadi fakultas keguruan dan ilmu pendidikan yang terbaik di tingkat nasional pada tahun 2030, yang menghasilkan sarjana pendidikan yang unggul dalam kecerdasan spiritual, intelektual, emosional, dan sosial. Untuk mewujudkan visi semacam itu, Fkip Uhamka bersama-sama dengan sivitas akademikanya menjalankan catur dharma perguruan tinggi dengan penuh komitmen dan keteguhan hati, antara lain melaksanakan pendidikan dan pengajaran, melakukan riset dan pengabdian kepada masyarakat, serta mengembangkan dan menjalankan nilai-nilai al-Islam kemuhammadiyahan.
Fakultas Keguruan Ilmu Pendidikan atau FKIP memiliki program studi unggulan, yakni Pendidikan Bahasa Inggris. Dengan sarana laboratorium bahasa yang canggih, modern, dan terintegrasi, mendukung mahasiswa lebih mudah menerima pelajaran secara detail dan komprehensif. Dengan staf pengajar yang profesional dan berpengalaman, membuat kegiatan belajar mengajar menjadi lebih mudah, menyenangkan, dan meningkatkan kualitas hasil akhir lulusan prodi Pendidikan Bahasa Inggris. Pendidikan Bahasa Indonesia. Begitu pula program studi pendidikan Bahasa Indonesia yang telah banyak melahirkan lulusan yang kapasitas dan kapabilitasnya diakui sebagai tenaga pengajar yang profesional di banyak instansi pendidikan. Ada pula yang menjadi penulis, copywriter, wartawan, pengelola perpustakaan, dan karir lain terkait bahasa Indonesia. Pendidikan Bahasa Jepang. Studi Pendidikan Bahasa Jepang Uhamka banyak melakukan kegiatan yang rutin melibatkan para mahasiswa, dilaksanakan secara rutin dan selalu mendapat sambutan dan apresiasi yang positif dari mahasiswa dan calon mahasiswa berbagai sekolah menengah atas. Misalnya, kegiatan Haruka Matsuri yang sudah 15 tahun lebih diselenggarakan dan disambut meriah. Pendidikan Matematika. Format pengajaran di program studi pendidikan matematika dibuat menarik, atraktif, kreatif, dan membangkitkan semangat belajar matematika dengan cara yang menyenangkan bagi calon guru dan siswa saat terjun menjadi pengajar. Lulusan prodi matematika dapat terjun sebagai konsultan pendidikan, pengelola kursus, instruktur workshop, memproduksi alat peraga, penulis buku ajar. Pendidikan Biologi. Program studi pendidikan biologi dilengkapi dengan sarana laboratorium biologi yang lengkap, dengan perangkat canggih, dosen yang berpengalaman dan profesional, serta sumber literatur yang komplit dan memadai. Menghasilkan lulusan bukan hanya mampu menjadi pengajar yang handal serta menguasai teori dan praktek, juga dapat berkarir sebagai pengelola laboratorium biologi, instruktur workshop, peneliti, dan penulis buku ajar. Begitu pula dengan program studi pendidikan fisika yang banyak diminati oleh siswa pemerhati teknologi. Di Uhamka, semua sarana dan prasarana peralatan belajar mengajar mengatur mengacu pada kebutuhan peningkatan pengetahuan fisika yang selalu update sesuai perkembangan teknologi dan zaman. Pendidikan ekonomi. Lulusan program studi pendidikan ekonomi tidak hanya berkarir sebagai pengajar, tetapi juga dapat mengembangkan jiwa kewirausahaan, menjadi wira swasta sukses, atau menjadi staf profesional bank. Semua elemen pendukung mewujudkan cita-cita tersebut. Disediakan Fkip Uhamka baik dari segi fasilitas struktur dan infrastruktur, praktek laboratorium ekonomi, studi kasus mutakhir, hingga menghadirkan praktisi ekonomi profesional untuk memberikan kurikulum terbaik bagi seluruh mahasiswa. Pendidikan sejarah. Materi sejarah berbasis teknologi informasi hasil karya dosen dan mahasiswa pendidikan sejarah sudah dapat diperoleh melalui aplikasi online yang dapat diunduh dengan mudah. Digitalisasi informasi dapat secara luas diserap tanpa mengenal jarak, ruang, dan waktu. Penerapan revolusi industri 4.0 secara inheren dan komprehensif makin lengkap, membekali mahasiswa yang nantinya akan menjadi pengajar, pengamat sosial, peneliti, wartawan, pemandu wisata, bimbingan belajar, dan sebagainya dengan lebih fokus dan profesional. Pendidikan geografi. Bentang geografis wilayah yang luas menuntut lebih banyak ahli geografi yang mampu menjelaskan informasi kekayaan alam dan pengelolaannya kepada masyarakat luas. Karir sebagai guru geografi, guru teknologi informasi, surveyor pemetaan, surveyor sumber daya alam, dan sebagainya merupakan pilihan dari program studi pendidikan geografi yang signifikansinya sangat dibutuhkan. Pendidikan guru sekolah dasar atau Pgsd.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Fkip Uhamka dari Trenggalek. Saya kuliah di Uhamka mengambil jurusan Pgsd karena di sini akreditasinya A.
Prodi Pendidikan Guru Sekolah Dasar di Fkip Uhamka menitik beratkan pada mutu dan kebutuhan utama calon pengajar Pgsd yang berkualitas, dengan kapabilitas yang mengutamakan profesionalitas. Menjadi pengajar sekolah dasar dan pengelola pendidikan dasar adalah sebagian dari pilihan jurusan prodi ini yang telah tersebar luas di banyak sekolah dasar di wilayah Indonesia. Bimbingan konseling. Bimbingan konseling amat dibutuhkan setiap saat di tengah beragamnya persoalan tiap individu, agar kegiatan belajar mengajar menjadi lebih lancar dan kondusif. Menjadi konselor adalah pilihan karir yang tepat, baik di playgroup hingga perguruan tinggi, atau konselor di lembaga pemerintahan maupun swasta. Bergabunglah bersama Prodi Bimbingan Konseling Fkip Uhamka. Jadilah bagian sivitas akademika dengan membangun kesehatan jiwa tiap individu agar teraih kesuksesan yang membahagiakan lahir batin. Pendidikan Guru PAUD, pendidikan anak usia dini. Prodi Pendidikan Guru PAUD merupakan rahim dari cikal bakal lahirnya generasi penerus bangsa yang handal, bermartabat, berkualitas, dan pemelihara bibit unggul pembangunan bangsa. Prodi ini tidak hanya membentuk tenaga pengajar yang profesional di TK atau playgroup, Taman Pendidikan Anak atau TPA, dan di Lembaga Pendidikan Anak Usia Dini atau PAUD semata, tetapi juga membentuk pribadi yang matang dalam membina generasi terbaik sejak usia dini.
Mari bergabunglah bersama Fkip Uhamka dalam rangka mewujudkan cita-cita pendidikan nasional kita demi kemajuan masyarakat, bangsa, dan negara yang lebih baik di masa depan.
Everyone, I do hope after seeing that video, our friend and colleagues at Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University will know us better. And hopefully one day, one of you or maybe many of you will visit our university and we will lovely guide you to show our lovely university to you. Ladies and gentlemen, we already had our Rector, Profesor Dr. Gunawan Surya Putra, Master Jumanira in our room. So let's listen his welcoming speech that will be delivered by Professor Dr. Gunawan Surya Putra. To Professor Surya Putra, time is yours.
Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, my dear participants. The Dean of Faculty of Education, Uhamka University, Dr. Desvian Bandarsa, Head of Departments in Gayatri, my colleagues, the academic staff of Uhamka, respected speakers, Professor Marvin P. Tandas from the Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, my respected speakers, Professor Alexander Lopez from Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, and dear participants of the International Visiting Professor at the Primary Teachers Education Study Programs, Faculty of Education, Universitas Muhammadiyah, Professor Dr. Uhamka. Praise to God that today we have an international event, visiting professor from Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University. Today talking about the education, particularly primary education. As known that education for the early children, particularly for the primary education, is the essential step in the learning process, particularly in providing the right education to all the children. I am, as the director of University, Professor Dr. Uhamka, welcome to all of you, and of course I appreciate to the committee, I appreciate to the head of the departments of the primary teacher education program that today is able to invite two professors from Memorial State University, that is Professor Marvin and Professor Alexander. These two professors will provide their experience, their practices in educating the primary teachers. Therefore, we believe that the topic that these two professors provide to all of us will provide us the new horizon in doing our education, particularly experiencing in Philippines, which I believe is close to our countries in Indonesia. Therefore, on behalf of the university, I thank to Professor Marvin and Professor Alexander today, and I hope that from their experience, all the students particularly, and also for the academic staff of the primary teacher education study program, we learn a lot about that experience. And I believe that this will be able to give us a kind of new credit in education. And therefore, I also hope that Uhamka professors will exchange their experience to the Philippines education program, especially to the Don Memorial, Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University. We have a long cooperation, and I believe at least these 3 recent years, this university, that is the Memorial State University along with Uhamka University, have a good relation and cooperation. And I believe the cooperation will not stop in this program, but I believe another program will be proceeded. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that our student now is called the student of millennial, and we know that all the new teachers, the novice teachers, are also categorized as the Z generation, and there must be gaps between the G generation and millennial generation. Especially if we are talking about education, these two gaps are relatively significant. Therefore, it is very important for us to make kinds of study, research, and from that study and research, then we can at least find out a solution to find out the way out how to close and how to at least giving kind of a solution in order this two gap is not too distant. And I believe to solve this problem, our professor today will provide their experience. Again, thank you to all of you, and I hope that this international visiting professor will be successful, and I believe that all the participants will get a new horizon from this visiting professor. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Professor Surya Putra, for your delightful speech. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go furthermore, let's take some picture for our documentation. Please get ready. Slide 1. Slide 2. Slide 3. And the last slide 4. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to present a welcoming dance to you, Tarian Nusantara. Beautiful dance, isn't it? All the dancers are the student of primary teacher education study program. Traditional dance is one of our subjects, so all the students will have a deep love to our lovely country, Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the end of our agenda. Let us close this opening session by reciting Hamdalah. Next, the presentation will be delivered by Ibu Nurafli MPD as the moderator. Ibu Nurafli, you're in touch now. I leave it to you. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Miss Nova. Alhamdulillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Robi Sloi Sodri wa Yasili Amri wa hluluh khidatami lisani yafqahul qawli amma ba'du. The Honorable Rector of Uhamka, the Honorable the Dean of the Faculty of Teacher Training and Education of Uhamka, and all of the Vice Dean, the Honorable the Head of Primary Teacher Education Study Program, all of the lecturer, and all of the faculty guests. Good morning, all participants, and welcome to the International Visiting Professor, held by Primary Teacher Education Study Program, Faculty of Teacher Training and Education Uhamka, Wednesday, 22 June 2020. I'm Nur Afni as the moderator today. An honor and pride for me to be moderator for very valuable knowledge and information from special our professor today. But first, before we continue, I would like to say hello for our lovely guests. We already have Mirna Achas. Good morning, Mirna. We have Mary today. We have Mary Joy. We have Ronald Buscos. We have Balesteros. And all of the guests, our lovely guests, that's from the MMSU, SLUC, and from Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, Philippines. Thank you for coming with us today. And this is for guest information. Actually, in primary teacher education, we have special class. We call it bilingual class. And all of the students practice learning to use two languages, Bahasa and English. And this event special held as a lecture for bilingual class students. And this is information about our best professor. Prof. Marvin Tandas is a young and promising faculty member of the Bachelor in Elementary Education Department and Elementary Laboratory School of Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University from South LA Union Campus. He obtained his Bachelor in Elementary Education major in General Curriculum in 2012 and his Master Art in Science Education in 2019. Wow! He has been with GMMSU and SLUC for 8 years now, and prior to it, he spent 2 years in Santa Camillus College of Manioc as a basic education teacher, bringing the total of his teaching experience to 10 years. Wow, that's so proud, Prof. And here we have Prof. Marvin Vitandas with the topic today, Molding the Community, Shaping the Future, the teacher roles in nation building. But before we start, I have several regulations. First, all of the participants able to activate the camera. So I will count until 3 and you have to on your camera. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for activate your camera. And the second rule is only activate the microphone for asking question directly. Yeah. And the third, you are able to use the chat box for asking the question, for texting the question. And I will read the question to Professor Marvin. And now, allow me to welcome our great speaker, Professor Marvin Vitandas. Okay, time is yours, Professor.
Thank you, ma'am. So allow me to share my screen.
Yeah, so please, Prof.
Is it visible now?
Yep, so clear.
Okay. So again, good morning. Salamat pagi.
Good morning, Prof. Thank
And
you.
for the Philippines, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. So thank you for the opportunity that given to us. So we all know as globalization kicks in, so we are going to develop our intercultural competencies. So definitely this is one of the area where we can be able to do that one. Okay, so this morning I am tasked for the topic molding the community, shaping the future, the teacher roles in nation building. Okay, so first, let's have the first slide. Sir Alex. Yung next slide. Okay, so sorry for that one. So first, for the first slide. So for instance, or imagine yourself that you are in a certain dark room or in dark place. So what are you going to feel? Or can you associate some words? You can comment your answers in our chat box. So for instance, again, I repeat, if you are in a dark room, or imagine yourself that you are in a dark room or in a dark place, what are you going to feel? You can have your answers in our chat box. Or you can give some words associated with dark places or in a dark area. So may I request some of our participants to give some answers in our chat box. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So what are you going to feel if you are in a dark area? Scared. What else? Feel sleepy. Can I have some more?
The chat box, we cannot write anything, unable to write here.
Okay.
Oh ya, I'm sorry, Mas Sumar minta tolong dibukain chat box-nya karena yang lain nggak bisa ketik di chat box. Okay, yeah, already.
Okay, so thank you. Afraid? Alone? Thank you for your answers. I feel so lonely, frightening, black. You cannot see. Okay, so let's move on the next slide. For instance, we can be able to see a certain light. So what are you going to feel then? You can comment your answers in our chat box. A while back, we have a picture wherein there is a dark place or in a dark room. Now, you're going to imagine yourself if you're going to see a certain light. That's the door, a way to go out. You will be relieved. Hope. We can be able to see. Future. The direction. Little light for big hope. Feel free. And let's have the last one, a solution. Okay, so thank you for your answers. So definitely for that particular light, we can associate that particular light for us teachers and you, soon to be teachers or future teachers. So definitely we will be a light, particularly with our learners, in order for them to show the right path or the right direction that they're going to take, particularly in their future life. Okay, so next. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties. Okay, so we are going to watch a certain video which is entitled The Seed. Okay, so what can you say about that particular video? So for instance, the plans will be our students. So definitely for the rain or for the different storms that they are going to encounter, for instance, in a classroom setting, the different struggles, particularly in their education life, definitely we as a teacher will be on their sides and to guide them and to show the correct direction and path that they are going to take. Okay, so I have here a quote coming from Maharishi Arvind. So teachers are the clever gardeners of the nation's culture. They fertilize the roots of the rituals by their own labor, irrigate them, and convert them into power. The real builders of a nation are the teachers of that particular country. So definitely, we have the big role, particularly in the lives of our learners. So for instance, we are going to compare our learners like a sponge. If you are familiar with tabula rasa, whatever the things that we are going to give them, particularly the ideas or the information, they are going to have that one. So definitely because we are primary teacher, so definitely that will be the start of their educational journey. So for my topic for today, that is divided into, so we have the roles of the teacher for the building the nation, and we have the different characteristics of a teacher for the 21st century. So I'm going to start with this one. So number one, key points. So for the developing the inner powers of the child. So according to the famous educationist Provel, education is such a process which illuminates the inner qualities of the child. I am going to categorize the inner powers of the child into four. So we are going to start with the vision. So we all know in a classroom setup, definitely, for instance, I'm going to have an example. We are going to have 30 learners. We have 30 different individuals. So definitely on that 30 individuals, there will be 1 or 5 students or pupils that will stand or act as a leader. So definitely, as a skilled teacher, we can identify who will be the leader of that particular class. So definitely, for superpower number 1, they can have the leadership potential. So if we're going to look back during our childhood days, definitely some of us wants to become a part of the Justice League. For instance, you want to be Superman, Batman, to act as a leader of that particular group. Or even if you're familiar with the Power Rangers, because I have that one during my childhood days, definitely I'm going to choose the Red Ranger, wherein he act as the leader of the group. So aside from that one, so we have 4 superpowers. I started with vision. Second, we have the term speed. If we are going to have the particular speed of a child because they wanted to get something as fast as they want to have. So during elementary days, if they are, because they are eager to learn something new, and that will be the time that we are going to incorporate or accompany the word speed. Then second, we have imagination. So definitely for our learners in the primary grade, they are imaginative 1, right? For instance, if they're going to have a wooden stick, they're going to act that one as a lightsaber. If you're familiar with that tool in Star Wars. Okay, so for instance, we have that one. Then, aside from that one, some of our learners, if they're going to buy something together with their parents, for instance, they have a toy, okay? But then, definitely because they are imaginative 1, they are not going to use or they are not going to play the toy first. But then they are going to use the box instead, right? So that is for imagination. So we all know that they have a wide imagination. Then aside from that one, we have the 4th superpowers. So we have their brain. So definitely, as a young ones, they are hunger, particularly in gaining the knowledge. So if we will be a skilled teacher, definitely we can do that one. So if we are going to see or able to see that eagerness, particularly with the young ones, so we are going to give whatever they want to have. Okay, so that is for the first one. Next, let's have the second one, developing personality. So according to Woodworth, personality is the name of the comprehensive characteristics of the whole behavior of an individual. In the modern era, it is not enough to develop only the inner powers of the children. So we have 3 ways in order for us to develop the personality of the young ones. So I'm going to have 3. First, as a teacher or during the start of your class, for instance, you're going to have the school year 2022 to 2023. So during the first day of classes, as a skilled teacher, we can identify or we can evaluate particularly the characteristics of our learners. And that one, we should believe particularly with their what? With their personalities or skills. On that way, we can be able to hone them. That's the first one. Second, we should focus only with the positive traits or positive personality traits. For instance, we have child who should be friendly. Second, he should be confident. Second, or the third one, he should be open to new experience, or particularly, he should be taking a risk. Why? Because on that one, he will learn. Even for some cases, a child will be called as a failure, but then he will learn something, particularly on that mistake. Okay, so let's have the third one. Our third rule is this: to awaken the sense of sociality. So man is a social animal. So according to Aristotle, and it is the responsibility of the teacher to make him friendly to the society. It is the teacher who acquaints the individual with the ideals, values, and humanities of the society. We all know that man cannot live alone, or man cannot live alone. Or if you're familiar with the saying, no man is an island, right? So with that case, during in a classroom setting or in their classroom, we should awaken the sense of sociality, particularly with our learners. How? For instance, we can have different group activities. So with that, they can be able to collaborate with their classmates. And as a start, they can be able to share that one or to share that particular characteristics in their community as well. So if they are good in interaction, particularly in classroom, so definitely they can bring that characteristic in their community as well as in their society. Okay? Let's have the fourth one. We have control of basic tendencies. Some basic tendencies are born in children. So a teacher purifies those basic tendencies, guides them, and also works to control them. For instance, as a math teacher, as a grade 4 math teacher, particularly we have some of the basic tendencies. I am going to have abstraction. So when we say abstraction, it is concerned with mathematics. So for instance, as a teacher, we are going to give some examples which is a part of their daily lives. For instance, we are going to have the 4 basic operations. If you're familiar with that one, we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, wherein they can use that one in their daily lives. Particularly here in the Philippines, some of our learners do not have their own private cars, so they are going to commute. If you are familiar with the tricycle, so they're going to ride on that one from their house to school. So definitely they can have or they can use their learnings in mathematics on that case. Next, we should have also manipulatives. So if you are teaching primary ones, then definitely this will be one of the best strategies. So we have manipulatives. So if you're going to see the child on that particular picture, so definitely we have that one. And also, aside from that one, we can have, or some of the basic tendencies of our learners are curiosity. So definitely that starts with that particular knowledge. If they are curious something, then definitely as a teacher, we should guide them, particularly in science class, right? So we can do some experiments to test their curiosity in order for them to know, right? And also, definitely our learners or our pupils in primary grades are creative. So we can have that one in their arts, right? So we can have that one. And then that is for number 4. So as a teacher, we should give diverse activities in our learners, because definitely if we are going to tend with a simple strategy or a simple activity, then definitely they are going to be bored, or we cannot be able to have or intensify their learnings. So as a teacher or as a part of the 21st century teacher, we should take risks, particularly in the teaching strategies as well. Okay, so let's have number 5. So we are going to prepare themselves, particularly in their future. So the teacher imparts education to the students in the different subjects and professions. He makes his student capable, who after getting education can discharge his duties towards family, society, country as well. So definitely for our in our classroom setting and with the different subjects that we are going to thought with our pupils or our students, then definitely we can be able to identify pupils on what particular subjects they are good at, right? And then on that particular aspect, we can share our thoughts or ideas on what particular profession that they are going to take. But remember, that particular profession, that particular child should feel happy because he wanted to become that professional someday. For instance, you identify your learners are good in mathematics. So definitely you can introduce some professions which are in line with mathematics or in science as well. But then if there are some interests of our learners, then definitely we are going to give there are different options in order for them to choose. Here in the Philippines, particularly in the elementary laboratory school, we conducted our career guidance week, wherein we can be able to see what professions that our students want to become someday. So you can use that one if you have in your school. So you're going to have a certain program, then they are going to display. The pupils will display particularly the uniform or the outfit of that particular profession. Okay, so that is how we are going to prepare their future life. Okay, so next, let's have number 6. So we have Mahatma Gandhi. So we are going to have character building and moral development. So as Mahatma Gandhi said, if education is to make its name meaningful, then its main function should be to impart moral education. So for instance, here in the Philippine setting, we have values education or character education. So definitely there are some values that are integrated on that particular subjects. We can use that one, for instance, in a classroom setting, and then you have some bulletin boards. So on that board, we're going to pick one. You can have interactive collage. For instance, in a certain month, for instance, in September, you want your learners to develop respect. So definitely, there will be a signboard wherein they can be able to make a collage pertaining on that particular value, which is respect. Then for the other month, you can have other values. For instance, we have courage and also trustworthy. So you can use this as a strategy for your learners to impart a particular value. And also, in a classroom setting or in a classroom setup, we should be able to say the importance of voluntarism for our students. Why? Because we can be able to see who are, or in their particular side, they wanted to volunteer themselves to do a particular task without asking to do such. Next, for instance, in our classroom setup or in our classroom, we can have the random acts of kindness. So definitely, we can be able to see that one in our learners during or sometime in our class. Okay, so you can use that one as a strategy in order for us to build their character and also to develop their morals. Let's have number 7. So to develop the qualities of an ideal citizen. It is the ultimate duty of the teacher to develop the qualities of an ideal citizen in the students through his education, so that the students can understand his duties and rights properly and make proper use them in life. So for instance, with this, in order for us to develop a certain ideal citizen, first, we should have the personal qualities of a child. What are those? For instance, we have honesty, integrity, responsible, and also respectful. So those are some examples of personal qualities wherein we can be able to have during our class discussion. So definitely we can enhance that particular quality in the child during classes. So aside from that one, we should have learners should patriotize the different products or attitude, particularly on that country. For instance, can you give me some instances wherein you are going to show your patriotism? You can post your answer in our chat box. How are you going to show your patriotism? So first, I'm going to share our ways on how we are going to show our patriotism. First, simple following the rules. Then second, the singing of our national anthem. And also showing the beauty or the rich culture of the Philippines. So that is how we are going to show our patriotism, and we are proud to be called as a Filipino citizen. So definitely we can have that one during your for your social studies class. So definitely we can embed those personal qualities as well as the different ways on how they are going to be. For instance, they are patriotising some. For instance, the products as well as on how they're going to show their patriotism. And also, for number 7, our students or our learners should be productive and active member of the society. So how? For instance, they can be a part of a certain program in your barangay or municipality or in your place. So for instance, there will be tree planting. So definitely they can join with that particular activity to be a part or to be an active citizen on that particular society. Next, let's have number 8. Ano naman yan? Ano naman, Sir Alex? Number 8. Okay. Next, let's have number 8. So, communicating national feeling. An ideal teacher inculcates national unity and patriotism among the students through his education. So the independent existence of a nation depends on its ideal citizens. It is only with their cooperation that the nation becomes prosperous and strong. So definitely for number 8, that is also related or interrelated with number 7, wherein they are going to show their patriotism as a student. So as a teacher, as I've said a while back, we can be able to have this patriotism in our social studies class or even in values education. So definitely with this, we can be able to share what are the things that they're going to do as a part of the community. Next, let's have number 9. Introducing culture and national pride. A good teacher introduces students to their culture and national pride. The teacher instills patriotism in all the students by presenting an ideal with his mind, words, and behaviors. Children get new direction from the teachers, and they help in nation building. Again, this is interrelated on what we have with number 7. So definitely, we are going to instill patriotism for our children. So definitely, we are going to cite the different things or the different cultures that we have. For instance, the dance that you have shown us a while back. So aside from that one, what are the different values of our Indonesian pupils should have to be a good part or a good citizen of your country? As well as in the Philippines, what are the things that they should learn or that they're going to know, particularly in our culture, to be, in order for them to be proud, particularly as a Filipino citizen. So let's have the last one. For first part. So we have giving proper guidance. To move forward on the path of progress in life, proper guidance is required. This instruction is of several types. For instance, we have guidance, educational guidance, and also for vocational guidance. So when we talk about vocational guidance, we are talking about their capabilities and also their interests and also their skills in choosing their profession. So those are the key roles that as a teacher should do, particularly in our learners. Then, only skilled teacher makes every student a good doctor, engineer, judicial, and administrative officer by giving the best education in all subjects, as well as making him a good human being. Therefore, it is the duty of the teacher to strengthen the foundation of the students from the very beginning and play an important role in building a beautiful and civilized society. To end the first part, so from Dr. Manorahangan Pradhan, teachers are the nation builders. They are the destiny makers of youth and architects of society. They are social engineers and custodian of the future. Now, let's move on with the different characteristics of a 21st century teacher. So we have 11 characteristics I listed. Okay, so first, let's have the learner-centered classroom personalized instruction. So if you're going to have learner-centered classroom, what comes to your mind? Can you give me some words? If you are going to have the learner-centered classroom, you can share your answers or thoughts in our chat box. So if you're going to say, sorry for that. Okay, so let's have that number 1. If you're going to have learner-centered classroom, we are pertaining to what? So you can use our chat box for us to have an interactive conversation, particularly with the topic. Okay, so for number 1, we have learner-centered classroom and personalized instruction. So as students have access to any information possible, there certainly is no need to spoon-feed them knowledge or teach one-size-fits-all content. So for this, as a teacher or as a 21st century teacher, we should know on how we are going to differentiate our instructions, particularly if we are going to deal with 30 different individuals. They have their own interests, right? So definitely as a teacher or as a part of the 21st century teacher, we should have, or we should base the different activities that we are going to give, particularly in our learners, on their interests, okay? In order for them to engage on the different activities that you are going to have in your classes. And then with this one, getting their interests, or getting involved, particularly with the things that they are going to want to learn, then definitely this will be an ideal recipe for the better learning outcomes. Okay, so we should not forget that, for instance, some of our learners want to have a game or the game base. So definitely, as a 21st century teacher, or in a primary teacher, then definitely we can have this one. But then we should really make sure that particular game is connected with the topic that we are going to discuss on that particular day. Okay, so we are not going to think for a certain game, but then we should connect that particular activity with the different learning outcomes that the student should have on that particular day. Okay, so let's have the second one. Students are producers. So today, or today's students have the latest and greatest tools. Yet the usage in many cases barely goes beyond communicating with family and friends via chat, text, or codes. So for instance, with this one, so we all know that our students are capable to do blogs, right? Creative blogs, or some of them can do digital stories using their gadgets. So definitely, we are going to use this strategy because nowadays our learners are called digital natives. So definitely they are familiar with the different technologies nowadays. We should have to, for instance, but then we should not forget the traditional ones, the paper and pencil test, right? But then we should, as a teacher or as a future teacher, we should really make sure that the things that they're going to pass, particularly the activity, are checked and it should be returned to them. Okay, next, let's have number 3. So as a teacher, you should learn new technologies nowadays in order to be able to offer students choices, having one's own hands-on experience and expertise will be useful. So for instance, here in the ELS, for my science class, I use some interactive simulations or some applications wherein we can be able to download that one in our mobile app or our mobile phones rather. And then also, if you're familiar with the pet simulations, there are some simulations on that particular site wherein you can use, particularly in teaching physics in science 4, 5, and 6. Also, there are some mathematics or topics in mathematics that are included on that particular site. So definitely you can use them in order for us to be what? To learn something new, particularly in technology. Okay, then aside from that one, if you are familiar with Khan Academy, you can use that one, particularly in primary grades. So then, to start on how they are going to read some CVC. So definitely there are some simulations on that particular site. Again, I repeat, you can have pet simulation. This is this was introduced by a university from the US. I think University of Colorado. I think you can use that one in your science class and also for mathematics. And you can have some interactive simulations that are present in the internet, which are related with the different topics that we have in elementary. Okay, as a teacher, we should what? Take risks, particularly in engaging this new technologies nowadays, for us to not be left behind. Okay, next, let's have number 4. We are going to go global. Okay, so today's tools make it possible to learn about other countries and people firsthand. Of course, textbooks are still sufficient, yet there's nothing like learning languages, cultures, and communication skills by actually talking to people from other parts of the world. So definitely this one, the thing that we are going to do, we are going to have this particular day. So definitely, this will be one of the best steps on how we are going to engage or communicate with the other people from other parts of the world, sharing our cultures, our strategies, particularly in classroom, and then it will develop our intercultural competence. So that one. So let's have number 5. Okay, so for number 5, it is somewhat related with the thing that we have in number 3. But then for this one, be smart and use smartphones. Once again, when students are encouraged to view their devices as valuable tools that support knowledge rather than as distractions, they start using them as such. So for instance, this one, we can be able to have, or for the students to use particularly their smartphones at a particular time or in a particular subject wherein they can be able to use that one. So how are we going to use smartphones or a smartphone useful? So definitely there are some applications that are available in on that particular area. So for instance, in mathematics and science and also for English, if we can use an application which is related with the different topics that we are going to have in English, math and science, then we can download that particular application. And then we are going to use them in our class. So that will be the time that they are going to bring out their smartphones. But as a part of your classroom management, you are going to say that they're going to bring out their phones if they are they told so. Okay, so not only not on that particular day they're going to use their phones, but then they're going to have that one during a particular time or a particular subject. Next, let's have number 6. So we're going to have this one, go digital. Another important attribute is to go paperless. Organizing teaching resources and activities on one's own website and integrating technology can bring students' learning experience to a different level. For this one, we as a teacher, we can be able to share information. How? We can be able to share some informative links or educational links, particularly with the different teachers from your university and our university, so we can share some information or some resources wherein we can be able to send them, for instance, via email, right? So we could have a paperless. And also, I'm going to share the things that we have or we do here in the elementary laboratory school. So for instance, we are going to say we are paperless because we are having pandemic, right? So it affects our educational system here in the Philippines. So the thing or the different activities that a child should do in a certain week, we're going to give them in a PDF. So we are going to send them a particular task in a week. So that will be, so we can be able to say that there's a paperless. So we are going to have, for instance, we are going to create a Facebook group. Then we are going to post the different activities that they are going to do in a certain week. Okay, so we can have that one. And also to share our best practices, we can be able to share some links or some resources wherein it should be useful for us. Okay, next, let's have number 7. So we are going to collaborate. So collaborate. Technology allows collaboration between teachers and students, creating digital resources, presentations, and projects together with other educators and students will make classroom activities resemble the real world. So with this kind of activity that we have now, definitely we collaborate from your university, from our university. Okay, so sharing our expertise on the different fields. So that is how we are going to collaborate nowadays. So we are going to integrate different technology. Okay, so in this one, we can be able to share, or you can also be able to share your best practices, particularly as a teacher in your university and me as a teacher in our university. So definitely we can have, or we are going to share our practices as well in order for us to be what? To be a better version of ourselves, particularly as a teacher or as a teacher in the 21st century. Okay? Okay, so we are down with number 8. So for number 8, so we can use chats or comments. Participating in chats is the cheapest and most efficient way to organize one's professional development, share research and ideas, and stay current with issues and updates in the fields. Okay, so for this case, so we here in our university, we have our Google Classroom. So we can be able to post some activities on that particular site. Then some of our students or most of our students should comment, or for instance, you're going to post a question. Then your students should comment something relevant, or they're going to share their ideas on that particular question. So definitely we can share, or they can share their ideas or thoughts on that particular question. Or for some cases, because we all know that they're familiar with Facebook, you can create a Facebook group. And then, for instance, if you want the students to have to participate, particularly in a certain issue, then you can post a particular question in your Facebook group. Then they can share, or they can put or leave their comments, particularly on that issue. So we can have that one, okay? Or we can have that particular strategy. Let's have number 9. We are going to build your positive digital footprint. It might sound obvious, but it is for today's teachers to model how to appropriately use social media, or how to produce, publish valuable content, and how to create shareable resources. So for this case, if you're familiar with blogs, right? Or for some, here in the Philippines, some of the teachers use TikTok, but then they have their educational content. Okay, so we can have that one. Or for instance, in YouTube, you can create your YouTube channel, but then the content will be in education side. Okay, so for instance, for English, mathematics, or science. So your different blogs or videos are concentrated with the different topics that you're going to thought or teach rather for your students. So as a teacher, or as a millennial teacher, or as a part of the 21st century teacher, we should be open with these possibilities. Okay? So, for instance, if you love to do TikTok, then definitely your content will be educational. Okay? So you can have that one. Let's have number 10. Innovate. I invite you to expand your teaching toolbox and try new ways you have not tried before, such as teaching with social media or replacing textbooks with web resources. So definitely, for some instances, we are going to say, we are going to think outside the box, right? So also as a teacher, we should think outside our toolbox. We should try something new, right? So if there are some new technologies or new strategies in education, we must try, right? For instance, you fail in your first try, then definitely try it again until you're going to learn that particular strategy. Or you can ask the help of your co-teachers as well. So how are they going to do this one, do these things? Then definitely as a part or being collaborative with your teachers or your co-teachers, then definitely you can innovate yourself. Then for my last slide, or for the last characteristic of a 21st century learner or a teacher rather, we should keep learning, okay? As new tools and new technology, keep immersing, learning and adopting is essential. The good news is it's fun, and even 20 minutes a day will take you a long way. So we believe that teaching is a continuous process. Teaching or learning is a continuous process, right? So you should stay updated with the current trends in education. Again, I will say it again, as a part of the 21st century teachers, we should not be left behind, okay? So reading for 10 minutes, particularly with magazines or even newspapers, will take you a long way, okay? So do not stop in learning, just be open with the possibilities. Okay, so I think this will be my last slide. So thank you. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih kembali, Prof. Marvin. Thank you so much. Wow, that's so interesting presentation and so much information that we have, Prof. Thank you so much. Now, time for the question and answer session. I would like to have 3 questions from the participants, and you are able to direct asking and also can texting the question on the Zoom chat box. Like I said before, this event actually specially held for bilingual class as their lecture. So please for asking the question. Any question?
Bu Apri, may I?
Oh, wow, so grateful. Yeah, so please, Ma'am Raslaini.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. And Mr. Marvin, I think it is very interesting for us to share, related with the latest various information for us to develop teaching learning process. This is here. I want to maybe, if you don't mind, to share with us. Maybe you have a good strategy to arouse the students' eagerness that you said just now, because the child or maybe the student have inner power and they have eagerness, and then maybe you have experience in this digital era, how to arouse their eagerness or their maybe the usual terms, it is like motivation to make them involved in our teaching learning, especially in digital era, whether it is conducted online learning or maybe hybrid learning maybe. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. So thank you for your question. So first, for mathematics or in science, you can have different group activities. So we can use that one. And also for science, you can use jigsaw teaching strategy. So I'm going to have an example. For instance, you're going to discuss the different human body system. Okay. So for instance, you are going to have a skeletal system, muscular system. So in order for our learners to collaborate, we are going to group them. For instance, you have 30 learners. Okay. So how jigsaw teaching strategy will work? So for instance, you have 3 topics. Okay. So definitely you are going to group your learners into 10. So your learners will have this particular topic. Okay. So after that one, they are going to share their ideas on a specific topic. For instance, group 1 will be skeletal, group 2 will be muscular, and for group 3, they are for reproductive system. So you're going to give them 10 minutes or 5 minutes in order for them to share their ideas and their group mates. Okay? So after that one, they are going to go to other groups and then share the things that they have learned on that particular system. Then afterwards, during your discussion, you can ask the students with the things that they have learned on a specific group and for the second group. So with that one, we can say that we are going to have an interactive class. So aside from that one, first, as a part of your classroom management, so as the school begins, okay? So first, we should know the interest of your learners, particularly in lower grades. Definitely, they are fun with games, right? So with the different games, we teachers should focus on the games that are related with the topic. So we are going to embed a particular game which is related with our topic. Then aside from that one, here in the Philippines or in our classroom setup, we can use Zoom. So you can have that one, okay? So you can have the jigsaw teaching strategy and Zoom combined. So you can have that one or you can use that one during online class. And then on how we are going to motivate our students. First, we should prioritize that we should build a strong relationship or with our students. With that one, we can be able to build a safe and positive learning environment. Then I believe after that one, students will feel that they are safe and they can share their thoughts or ideas in a classroom setup. Let us not forget that students or pupils in the primary grades love to play. So as a primary teacher, we should think for the different activities which we can impart some plays or games which is related with our topic and also with the learning outcomes that we are going to have on that particular subject.
Thank you. So the technique can be implemented whether it is offline or online.
Yes. You can have a jigsaw teaching strategy online. They're going to be group or even we can use that one using Zoom. So we can create some breakout session. Then they're going to go back on the specific link.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Actually, Ma'am Roslaini is our lecturer, Prof. Thank you, Ma'am Roslaini.
Okay.
And also we have a question from the chat box, but Farah Yusef will asking directly. So please, Farah.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Marvin.
Morning.
So I have a question about your presentation that mentioned in the 6 points. My question is, teachers should create paperless teaching resources. In Indonesia, there are still some areas that are difficult to use an internet connection and also difficult for electricity. If you are given the opportunity to teach in that area, how do we apply that point go digital points according to the condition in the area? Thank you for your opportunity, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for that question. First, here in the Philippines, we have this term localization. So for instance, in our science class, for instance, I'm going to teach about the 3 states of matter. For instance, or the molecules, I should say. Here in the Philippines, we have a match, if you're familiar with that one. Okay? And then if you're familiar with Mongo seeds, for instance, my topic will be the 3 states of matter or the molecules for solid, liquid, and gas. How I'm going to teach this one in a traditional way. For instance, I'm going to look with materials that are present on that particular community. Okay, so for instance, I have a match and also Mongo seeds. So definitely for me to discuss this particular topic, I'm going to put some Mongo seeds in a match. Okay, so in order for me to discuss the solid ones, definitely we are going to shake that particular match. Okay, so definitely we are going to observe that the Mongo seeds are intact. So that is the movement of molecules, right? And then for liquid state, we're going to what do we call this one? We're going to bring or going to have some, for instance, in Mongo seeds, for them to be intact, we're going to use 40. So for the liquid state, we can use 20 seeds. And then if we're going to shake that one, we can be able to have some movements of the Mongo seeds, right? So we can be able to have that one in order for us to have the liquid state. Then for our gas state, we are going to use 5 Mongo seeds. So definitely we are going to differentiate the movements of molecules, particularly in solid, liquid, and gas. So definitely we are going to have localization. So we are going to use the different materials that are present on that particular community. For instance, we are going to have floras and faunas, or the different animals and the different plants that can be seen in your particular area. So definitely you can use field trips, okay? So on that particular community, what are the plants that are present? And also, what are the animals that can be seen on that particular place? So definitely, on that case, we should use localization. So if you're going to be in a certain part of a community wherein there is no connection with internet, so we are going to have the traditional ways or traditional ones, or use the different materials that can be seen on that particular area.
Okay, thank you, sir. So we can use the areas, take advantages that appear in that area, right?
Yes.
Thank you for your answer.
And also for mathematics as well, right? So we can use the different things that can be seen or the materials that can be seen in that particular area as well.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. And Farah Youssef is student from bilingual class, Prof. Thank you, Farah. Okay, we have a question again in the chat box. That's from Shaida. Shaida, you can directly asking the question. Shaidah? Okay. Okay, I will read the question from Shaidah. Good morning, Prof. Marvin Tandas. In one point of the characteristic of the 21st century, teachers are expected to be smart in using technology, but this also needs to be supported by all parties, including students. Of course, this requires qualified digital literacy skills, but education in Indonesia, this ability is still low. What steps can be taken by teachers to be able to build these abilities in students? Thank you. Prof. Marvin?
Google Educator. Okay, so thank you for that particular question. So here in our university, we have this what we partner with Google. So with that one, we are going to have a certain program or a certain seminar wherein we teachers are given the chance to explore the use of technology. So definitely we could have that one also. We should look for partners which can be able to discuss or to give us guidance on the things or on the different technologies that we can use in our classroom. And also, as a suggestion, we can be able to have a certain program in our school to introduce to our learners on the different techniques on how we are going to use that particular technology or smartphones. Or for instance, we are going to have some private sectors who can give if there are. So we are going to be lucky if there are some private sectors who can give our school some technologies or smartphones. And as a teacher, we are going to have the chance to introduce this one in our class. So as a part of your class, definitely you are going to share the things that your learners should learn on how they're going to use that technology. But then here in our university, we have a partner or we have a partnership with Google Education or Google Educator, I should say.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. We have 3 questions already, Prof. Can we open the next session, Prof? Because we still have 2 questions in the chat box. Can we open the session 2 for the question, Prof. Marvin? Yeah, I think about the signal. Yeah.
Yes, if there are, we can have.
Okay. Okay, this is the session 2 for the question, and we have question from Regi Triawarman. Regi Triawarman, can you directly asking the question? Regi? Okay, we going to Stella Domondon question. Okay, the question from Della Domondon is, explore the resources present in the community and improvise the learning material where you find it fit with the concept being explored.
And thank you, Ma'am Stella, for your addendum. So as I've said a while back, on how we are going to have, for instance, you are going to be, or you're going to teach in an isolated area wherein there will be no electricity or internet connection. So definitely we have the term localization. So we are going to explore the different resources that are present on that particular community. And if that particular materials are related with our topic or subjects, then definitely we can use them. Thank you, Ma'am Stella.
Yeah, thank you. Any question again from the participants? Okay, Any question more? If not, may I? Oh, okay. We have question. This question from Hairunisa. Hairunisa, you are able to directly asking?
Sorry, ma'am, but my camera is turned off because my internet is slow.
Okay. Yeah.
Good morning, sir. Let me ask you, have you explained just now about the importance of the teacher role? I want to ask about number 10, that teacher ordered to expand the teaching toolbox and try new ways that have not tried before, such as teaching with social media or replacing textbooks with web resources. So how the teacher expand the teacher toolbox, or maybe developing media social to teach? Do teachers learn on their own to develop this media for teaching, or should the school hold classes for teachers in terms of developing teaching media? Thank you, sir.
Okay, so thank you for that question. For instance, if your school can provide a program or a simulation or a seminar in order for you to gain some knowledge, particularly with the different strategies outside to expand your toolbox, then definitely that will be the best way. But then because we are facing pandemic right now, you can search for some different strategies that are available technically in different websites or the internet resources, and then definitely you can learn that one. For instance, you can have independent learning on how you are going to execute. But then definitely one of the best ways is that your school should provide a certain seminar or a program wherein they're going to introduce different strategies, particularly nowadays. And for instance, some strategies for blended learning. Okay, for instance, this particular one, the Zoom, right? It is only introduced when coronavirus or we experience this particular virus. So definitely we should learn independently, or we can attend some seminars, definitely to enhance whatever the things that we have.
Okay, sir. Thank you for the answer.
Okay, thank you, Prof. And we still have one question, Prof. This is from Regi Triawarman. Wow, that's very amazing, yeah, very amazing asking question. Regi, you can asking directly to Professor Marvin. Because this is my student from bilingual class, I also give practice to them asking directly. Regi, can you? Okay. Yeah, okay, I will read the question. Permission to usher at the point of building your positive digital footprint, Prof. Mention one of the TikTok application as a positive trail, but nowadays, TikTok is used for different things or outside of the positive. What is Prof advice regarding this issue?
Okay, so thank you for your question. So definitely with this case, I have only introduced a TikTok application as one way on how we are going to show, but then we are going to focus in educational content. Okay, so for instance, your learners are fine with TikTok. You're going to say or guide them, particularly that they're going to follow only the accounts, particularly if they are for educational purposes. So as a teacher, for instance, I'm going to create my TikTok account. So my content will be focused on education. For instance, a different on how I'm going to teach addition in my class. So you can use TikTok on that particular aspect. But then for some cases or for other or outside, or definitely if we're going to have negative effect, then definitely we should abide that we are going to use only TikTok for educational purposes or as a teacher. Okay, so you're only going to focus for educational content only.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Wow, Prof, it's so interactive. We have one question more, Prof. Can be, Prof?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Putri Alia, can you directly asking the question? Because Alia, you have more practice speaking and asking the question. Alia, you there? Okay, I will read the question, Prof. Good morning, Prof. Marvin. In number 5, that is be smart and use a smartphone. Then, what is the teacher's role to control and ensure use of social media and technology used by students wisely and used properly? Thanks, Prof.
Okay, so thank you again. First, are you using smartphones? First, as a part of your classroom management. So you are going to set rules and regulations. So definitely they are going to bring out their smartphones if it is needed. Okay. So but then if it is not a part of your discussion, then definitely they are not going to bring out their smartphones. Make sure that you're going to say first the rules and regulation before allowing them to bring their cell phones or smartphones in your class or in your school.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Any question more?
I want to ask them.
Wow, great. Okay, who this?
Fania.
Fania. Okay, Fania, so please.
Okay. Good morning, sir. Let me ask you the last point 9. There is a discussion about teacher having to give example of how to use social media properly. Then, what if we as teacher have set a good example, but offset or supervision a student does not do social media properly good, even with the existence of TikTok, in my opinion, it has a bad impact on the development of students today. Then what do you think about this, Prof? Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for your questions. And so first, for social media. First, students or learners should know on the different things that they're going to post, particularly in social media. Okay, so they should be aware, or as a teacher, you should guide them on the different things that they are going to post, right? Or they are going to comment on that case. So definitely you should only have the proper guidance, particularly with your pupils or students in primary grades. For instance, you have caught or you are going to see some negative comments, then definitely right away, you're going to have or you're going to correct that one as a part or as a rule of you as a teacher. And then for the use of, for yes, definitely some contents in TikTok accounts, yes, definitely there are some negative videos, or I think negative issues that can be watched or can be seen on that particular account. But then again, I have only attached or suggest, if you're going to have a TikTok account as a teacher, then definitely you should focus your content only for educational purposes. But then for some cases, if not, you can have your blog, or you can have your YouTube channel wherein you can be able to place, or you can have some discussion on the topics that you're going to give for your learners. Okay? Because as a part of the blended learning, we can have that one. Because here in the Philippines, some of the teachers are doing some videos, particularly in education. And then they are going to send this one in their group chats or even in the Facebook group as an additional information with the topics that they're going to have, particularly with their learners.
Enough, Fania?
Did I miss something?
Thank
Or
you, Prof, for
okay,
the
thank you.
answers.
Thank you, Prof, and thank you, Fania. Prof, can we continue question? Or we done? Yeah? I'm not hearing you, Prof. Can we continue the session or we done? Because we still have time for continue the session.
Yes, ma'am, if there are some questions, I am going to answer them.
Okay, wow, we have question again. This is from the lecturer from primary teacher education from Pak Safrul. Pak Safrul, you would like to asking directly or I will read the question? Pak Safrul? Hey, I will read the question from Pak Safrul. Good morning, Mr. Marvin. Thank you for your presentation this morning. It make me inspiration to good teacher. On your presentation, focus to the teacher. How the teacher do the best for his or her students. As a teacher, what is the strategic teaching to students do not use handphone all time? Because it makes students forget on learning. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'm going to give two options for that one. For instance, they could have a certain place or cabinets as well, or the place wherein we are going to collect their phones first. And then if we are going to use that one, that will be the time that they are going to get their smartphones. And then for also, we should, if the smartphones are not intended for learning or education at that particular time, then definitely we should confiscate that particular phone. But then if you want to have a smooth, what do we call this one? If you're going to have some rules and regulation in classroom, then definitely first you should collect first the smartphones of your learners if they are not going to use that one. Okay, so you can bring that one if they're going to use them. But then, as I've said a while back, you can confiscate that particular phone if it is not needed in your discussion.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. And I agree with you, Prof. That's about regulation, yeah. We can arrange the student with the regulation, yeah. Okay, any question more? Okay. Prof, may I asking, Prof? If that's
Yes, ma'am.
okay, thank you so much, Prof. Actually, I'm a little bit curious. That's about the key point, first key point. You asking that the first point is developing the inner power, the child. Yeah. How we know, Prof, if the inner powers is already developing? Thank you, Prof.
Okay, so thank you, ma'am, for your question. For instance, for inner powers, so I have introduced four superpowers, right? So definitely, I'm going to have the first one, the vision, wherein we can be able to have leader potentials. Okay, so definitely we can be able to see that one if one of our pupil or learner stand and wanted to become a leader in a particular group activity. So definitely we can be able to identify that one, or we can be able to notice that a particular inner power of a child is developing on that particular case, because definitely we can be able to observe that some of our learners wanted to become a leader in a particular group activity. But then do not forget this one, that for instance, they should be given enough or equal chances to be a leader, particularly with the group activities.
Yep. Yeah, that's about leader potential, yeah, Prof. Yeah. Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Prof. This is the last asking question, yeah. Any question more?
Then as an additional, ma'am, we can always provide them with significant opportunities that can help them reach their full potentials.
Okay, yeah, that's great, so great, Prof. Okay, no question more, yeah? Okay. If no question more, Alhamdulillah, finally, we come to the end of this event. Before closing this, I want to draw conclusion from the speaker said. This is if I'm not make mistake, yeah? Okay, about the roles of the teacher in the development, we have 8 points, yeah? We have 8 key points. The first is about developing the inner power of the child. The second about developing personality. The third is to awaken the sense of the sociality. Fourth is control of the basic tendencies. 5 is preparing for the future life. 6 about character building and moral development. 7 to develop the qualities of an ideal citizen. 8 about communication, national feeling. And on the other hand, we also have the importance of the teacher roles. That's around 11 points, yeah, Prof. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I would like to thank the speaker, Professor Marvin. That's very interesting discussion, very valuable information. And also, I would like to thanks to all participants for their very active participants, and also thanks for Pak Purnama, and also thanks for our lovely guests from Philippines. Finally, applause to the speaker and all of you. We can give applause for the Prof. Marvin. Yeah. Thank you. This is the end of the first session. We still have the next session tomorrow at 9 until 11. Nasrul minallah fatul qorib wa basiril mu'minin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Giving back to the Mem Nova. Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Mem Nova.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much for Ms. Nur Afni. Prof. Thandas, I hope you're still with us for a moment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we learned a lot from Professor Thandas this morning. Thank you very much, Professor. To appreciate your effort, the head of International Affairs and Partnership Officer, Mr. Purnama Saipur Rahman, will give you a certificate of this international visiting professor. Pak Purnama, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Professor Marvin Thandas. I hope we can collaborate at next event, and this is your certificate, yeah, in Indonesia. Thank you, and I hope Professor Nur Afni and Professor Hikayatri will be visiting professor at your university. Professor Nova is from English education. Professor Nur Afni is from mathematics education, and Professor Ikayatri is from social studies education. So we can exchange the collaboration. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Purnama and Prof. Martin. That certificate to appreciate you. Thank you so much for the presentation material and the valuable information. Okay, Ma'am Nova.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Purnama. Thank you, Professor Thandas. Thank you, Ms. Nurafni. It's very nice to have both of you here. Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you that tomorrow morning at 8 p.m., we still have one more session with Professor Alexander Lopez at 8 p.m. So please join us again tomorrow morning at 8 p.m. We will learn a lot with Professor Alexander Lopez. Well, that's all the agenda of our international visiting professor today. Thank you very much. We hope you learned something and maybe learn a lot of things about it. Thank you very much for your attention. See you tomorrow morning at 8 p.m. Wabillahi taufiq walhidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, everybody.
Waalaikumsalam
Have a nice
warahmatullahi
day.
wabarakatuh.
Thank you,
Good
Professor.
afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hope
Thank
to
you,
see you
Prof.
again,
Martin.
not
Bye-bye.
virtually, personally.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Nona. Hi, Nona. Thank you, Mary.